The long-running genocide trial of former Bosnian Serb leader Radovan Karadzic at the United Nations War Crimes Court in The Hague enters its last day today. Prosecutors are seeking the maximum penalty of life imprisonment against Karadzic, who was a leading political figure during the 1992 to 1995 war in Bosnia that left 100,000 dead. Karadzic is charged with war crimes, crimes against humanity, and genocide for crimes committed when his ethnic Serb army tried to rid Bosnia of Croats and Muslims. But Karadzic, who has conducted his own defence in the trial after refusing the services of a lawyer, rejected the charges in closing remarks last week at the International Criminal Tribunal of the former Yugoslavia. Karadzic accused prosecutors of lying about his role in Bosnia's descent into civil war to make up for a lack of evidence. But prosecution lawyer Alan Tiga had said earlier that the testimony of hundreds of witnesses and 800,000 pages of transcripts had proved that Karadzic had led a policy of ethnic cleansing.
Contrary to Karadzic's claim to you last week that he refrained from introducing a state of war in order to normalize conditions of life in Republika Srpska, he did so to ensure the permanence of the forcible transfers that had been and were being carried out. He now tries to sell it to you, repeating that
the massacres of July 1995 were the worst atrocity of the Balkans War of the 1990s, which saw the breakup of the Federation of Yugoslavia into 6 successor states, with Kosovo, then a Serbian province, later also gaining independence.
Well, as we saw, the former Bosnian Serb leader Radovan Karadzic has said he expects to be acquitted of genocide and all other charges as his 5-year war crimes trial wraps up. Toby Cadman is on the line from Brussels to tell us more.
Yes, good afternoon.
Well, what were the main revelations in the trial? What new did we learn from it?
Well, I don't think there were any great revelations. I think what we were able to see was the very important role that Radovan Karadzic played in the war in Bosnia and Herzegovina, particularly as the senior political leader. So, and the prosecution demonstrated that quite clearly. I don't think that there were any great revelations because this was possibly one of the most documented incidents before the trial even started.
And what about in Bosnia and Republika Srpska itself? I mean, do you have any sense of whether people are now re-evaluating what Karadzic did, or is he still seen as some kind of local hero?
Oh, he's still seen very much as a local hero in Republika Srpska, amongst those that supported him throughout the time, throughout the conflict. Bosnia is still very much a divided country. There has been a peace process, but it is still very much divided and does not function as a single state. I mean, there are those that still support what he did and still believe that what he did was the right thing for the Serbian people. So the difficulty now is that we're going to see a verdict coming out, unlikely to be very soon. I mean, we're likely to see a verdict within the next couple of months, I would imagine, at a time where there is an election coming up in Bosnia later this month, and obviously his trial will play a very, very important part in those elections.
Well, I mean, if no real lessons have been learnt by the people of Republika Srpska at all as a result of this trial, do you think the trial at least has had some deterrent effect on other people doing similar things? I mean, quite a lot of people who are involved in war crimes are still politically active and free in Srpska, aren't they? So is there any deterrent effect involved in this at all, do you think, assuming he's found guilty, of course?
Well, I don't think there's any real doubt that he'll be found guilty. The question will be what kind of sentence he'll receive. If he's convicted on all counts, I would fully expect him to receive life imprisonment. Whether that has a deterrent effect nationally and internationally, I'm quite sceptical. We see crimes of this horrific nature being committed every day in Syria, Egypt, Palestine. So I don't think it necessarily has a deterrent effect outside. Whether it has a deterrent effect inside, I think there have been a great number of cases brought before both the International Tribunal and national courts in the former Yugoslavia, and there has been great efforts to ensure a process of accountability. One of the difficulties is that there hasn't really been any reconciliation achieved in Bosnia. And I think that is a failing of the international community. It's
Right.
also a failing of Bosnian institutions.
Right. Well, on that note, I'm afraid we'll have to end. Tony Cadman, thank you very much for taking part. Before we go to our break, let's have a